Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. On this episode, we have Layla, and she is awesome. I love it because she has the same mindset that I do. We can accomplish a lot more than we think. So let's get right into it. Layla, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I was born in 1987, November 1987, and I think I was about 28 weeks gestation. And that means I was one of the youngest babies to survive at that age at that time. I also have a twin brother who also has CP. Same one, same problem. You find that with twins. He's 20 minutes older than me. Because we were born so early, our parents were kind of told it was likely that we were going to have cerebral palsy, which we do. And I think at some points it was unlikely that I was actually going to survive. And I had to have a couple of operations to ensure that. But I did, thanks to a team of doctors that I am not responsible for in any way, shape, or form. So
Well,
yeah,
I find it interesting because you said that right when you were born, the doctor said that it was likely that you would have cerebral palsy, and for me, it wasn't until I was 1 year old before they started to
I think because
look into that.
When we were born, there was a situation where I think I got stuck. So they'd kind of known that there was less oxygen available to me at that point. So I think that's probably why they said that, just because it took them a while to kind of get us into the world. So that was the likelihood, I think.
Yeah, well, and for me, I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, so when I was born, I wasn't breathing. I had no heartbeat, nothing. So, they had to revive me after I came out. So, yeah. But,
That's a common way for CP to happen, is lack of oxygen during birth. So.
Yep, that's usually the cause of it. So, but yeah, me and you are here, thankfully, and we're just living the best life that we can.
I think I genuinely believe I'm here because I had something I had to do, and I'm hoping that I'm now in a situation where I'm actually doing that. So, that's my hope anyway, and my thoughts on it. So as you said, CP is not actually diagnosed until about, for me, it was about the age of 2, when I wasn't hitting the milestones I was supposed to hit in terms of walking. I could talk very well from a very early age, so they weren't worried about that. Actually, they were telling me to be quiet, I believe, by that point. But I think just because walking was an issue, and I think they could see from movements there was something going on there. So yeah, I was diagnosed CP at about the age of 2. So.
Wow. Yeah, I was diagnosed around 1, and the doctor said that I would never walk, and thankfully I did start walking at age 5. So I know what you're talking about. You don't have the milestones like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So my brother can walk, and he uses crutches. I could walk when I was younger, and then just as I got a bit older, it became more and more difficult for me to do. But I think it's quite common with CP. I think it's something like 50% of people are wheelchair users or have mobility issues.
Yeah.
So it's quite common.
Yeah. I agree that it does get harder as you get older. I'm at 33 now, and it's definitely a lot more difficult than it was before. So I've been doing everything I can to stay active and exercise because I know that's gonna help me the most. It's just keeping my strength up and my balance and all of that.
I think
So
just
yeah,
realistically, that's a part of aging. So everybody kind of has
yeah,
more issues as they get older. But I think because
yep,
of the way that we use our bodies and the amount of strain that puts on our bodies, it means that kind of earlier we can tell that things aren't quite what they should be. I think if you think about it in terms of every muscle in your body is affected by CP, and even your organs are muscles for the most part,
yeah, yep.
then it makes sense. Um,
Yeah, and the last time me and you talked, you actually taught me something because I was telling you how I have to go to the bathroom a lot. I peed a lot more than my friends do or my family. And you're like, yeah, that's because of CP. I was like, oh, and you're like, yeah, it's
your
another
bladder is a
muscle in your
muscle.
body.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So it's getting the wrong signals from your brain. Um,
mm-hmm,
so yeah, I have similar issues with the same thing. So I get you.
yep,
And I think it's the one thing I would probably swap. To be fair, I would swap that one quite easily
yeah,
because it gets in my way. So
yeah, it gets annoying, really annoying. But yeah, it's cool that at my age I'm still learning more. You know, I will be honest. I didn't really research cerebral palsy until like 5 years ago
no,
because I never really had a reason because it was like I know how it affects me. I know what I have to do to live with it, so I never really researched it.
I think
And
that's a kind of
I'm sure you know,
healthy way to look at it. I think because CP is a spectrum, so even people with CP get affected in an individual way, but with it, so you can know kind of what causes it, and you can, but you have to learn what it means in your own body anyway. So yeah, it makes sense. And I was similar. I come from a family where we didn't really look at disability, and we were encouraged to be as independent as possible and to not really set
same,
limitations on ourselves. So our identity as disabled people is something we are especially me, it's something I'm kind of coming to terms with at a later age. um, and I think for
yeah,
me,
I know
like,
you talk.
it's about not denying the fact that I'm a disabled person, but changing the what the definition of disabled person is and means to me. That's how I tackled that. Um, and I think that's I'm kind of, the more I speak to people, the more I learn. That's quite an an unusual perspective. So
Yes, it is.
it's nice to meet somebody who has a similar perspective. Um, so
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you 100%. And I was raised the same way. Or I can never use my disability as an excuse to not do something. I
mhm.
just had to do it.
It's
And
not
I
about
had
not
to figure
doing it;
out
it's
my
about
own
finding the
ways.
way.
Yep. Finding the ways that I can do it myself.
And
So
it
yeah.
seems like you're very successful at that. So hooray!
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yay! I do pretty good. It's like we're given a life and we can't choose like our disability. So I think it's up to us to just live it to the fullest.
It's
Don't let
about
it hinder
finding
us.
your own path and
Yeah.
defining things for yourself. Um,
Yep.
that's what I'm trying to do. Um, so to go on to talk about what I'm actually doing now, obviously there's a lot of stuff that I could talk about in terms of like schooling and how that is for people with disabilities and my experience of that. Um, I will talk about that very briefly and just say that I went to a mainstream school. And the only disabled person I knew till I was about, say, 28, was my brother. So it wasn't until I joined a wheelchair basketball club that I started to really think about my definition as a disabled person and how that could be a point of pride instead of something that you try and overcome. So yeah, that changed my life in terms of that. Started my advocacy journey by being told that I couldn't. I had to do more and I had to speak up for myself. So now I think it's coming back and biting them in the bum a wee bit because I'm asking them to do things. But that's okay. So yeah, so what I'm doing at the moment is I'm actually an International Coaching Federation qualified and accredited life coach. So I call myself a disability empowerment coach. And I want to help
Awesome.
people with physical disabilities find their own voice, build resilience, and then find their own meaning of the word thrive. So really just find their own path forward to living their best life. And I have to use myself as the example for that, which is a bit scary. So that's
It is.
what I'm trying to do.
I love what you're doing. In that time, you are doing it. You know, you're already making a difference in people's lives, which is amazing. I mean, just by you being here on this podcast, sharing your story, it's helping somebody that's listening. So that's truly just so powerful.
I think that's the thing. I think, you can, that's the choice to make, isn't it? You can look at your story and think of it in terms of what makes you different. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of things about disability that makes us different people, but you can choose to use that as a way to connect with other people as well. You just need to make that choice. And I think the difficulty is, in terms of just disability and how it's perceived, what you're trying to do is you're trying to change people's minds who either don't know anything about disability or see it from the perspective of the media or well, mostly media, so newspapers and TV, and that's
Mm-hmm.
biased depending on, how they get their funding and how they want to kind of put that across. And the difficulty is the disability community doesn't really discuss disability and doesn't educate. There's a lot of people that don't like to educate. And I understand that. Like, it's frustrating when you live with a disability, talking about disability all the time and
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you have to educate. But I think the reality is if we don't educate, other people are talking for us again. And we're
You're
so used to that,
exactly.
and we need
Yep.
to be talking for ourselves so that people get a realistic view of disability, and then we can make that fundamental change to how that's seen. But it's difficult because I completely understand that when you're living with it, you don't want to deal with it any more than you have to. But
Mm-hmm.
if we don't do that, things don't change, and things really need to change. So
Yep. They really do. You know, and it it will help a ton when people understand more. So it's good that me and you are out here sharing our stories, telling people how it is to live with what we have, because people don't understand, you know. Like they just see me out walking out in public, and I walk all goofy and different, and they don't know what it's like, and they don't understand. And I've built up a lot of friendships over my life, and I've changed people's lives because they now understand what it's like for the most part, they can't understand fully, but for the most part. And what I really love is I see the children that grew up with me in their lives and how compassionate they are to everyone. I think that has a lot to do with me. They don't see me as different anymore, so they don't see other people as different out in public that have a disability. So I think that's really powerful.
I think, it wasn't that long ago that disabled people weren't really out in the community and weren't seen. I think it went back to, I think it's like the 1960s or something. So when you think about it, not that long ago. And so, when they see people with disabilities, society's not built for us as a minority.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of not supposed to be, but we're getting to the point where now we're in society, but we're still kind of on the outside of it. And there's a lot in terms of like ability to work that really needs to change. And just how we're seen as people.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I hit a button. Something turned on.
Right.
It was
I heard that.
weird.
I was just giving you a wee minute to connect it. You're fine.
Yeah, we'll cut that little section out.
That's not a problem. It happens. Especially when you tell your body
So
to
yeah,
do something and it does something else. That's a fun one.
yeah, that was a muscle spasm, and my keyboard is on the little slider under my desk. So what happened is my leg jumped, hit the play button, and it started playing with my other podcast. So yeah, really annoying.
It's all right. It happens.
But that's the life of living with CP,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I've just told
Awesome.
I have a desk that raises and lowers. Because it was the only way that I could get a desk low enough to sit at, annoyingly. And like this morning I got up, I've got a dog, so I got up really early in the morning to feed the dog, and I got caught on the wire between my my desk and the wall, and just pulled it out, and I was like, I can't put that back in. So I'm glad it's at the bottom, because if it was at the top, you'd have been looking at the top of my head.
That's fun because yesterday I was doing a meeting with one of my friends, and he's a quadriplegic, so he can't use his hands very good either. And I was, just sitting here talking to him like me and you are, and I was trying to plug my phone in because it was dying. I'm like, I hate cords. He's like, yep, me too. They're not fun.
I
It's so
absolutely
hard to
hate,
plug
I
something
hate
in.
when you fling your phone halfway across the room because your phone,
Yeah,
like your hand just decides to let go, and you're like, okay,
yep,
just throw that. It's like, now I need to go and pick that
yep,
up, and I hope it's not broken because I do everything on my phone. Um,
yep.
so
Same here.
do you have
I
startle
do.
reflex as well? It's a joy.
What was that?
Do you have startle reflex as well?
Is that like like when I get scared?
Yeah, like, do you get a fright and it's like massive rather than
Oh, yeah,
tiny?
yeah. I will if somebody like comes up behind me and goes ah, I will jump and throw whatever I have.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends think it's the funniest thing ever, so they do it all the time.
I come from a family that's similar to that, and I actually had to say
Yeah,
to them, "Can you stop?" Because it's actually kind of painful.
yeah. It does hurt.
It's
It does.
not fun. Like, I don't find it funny.
No. Oh,
So
cause
yeah,
like
it's
I'm sure you're like me. Like every muscle in your body tenses up at one time,
mhm.
and it does not feel good. It hurts.
So
And
the
like for
best way
me,
that I can kind of describe muscle tone and how it feels in my body is to describe it as, see, when you make a fist and you make a fist really tight, that is how my entire body feels at all times. So it's not fun, and it makes everything difficult. But it's funny because that, again, these are dialogues that we should have, that, you know, I'm just talking to my family about now, and I'm almost 38 years old, and if I had had them 30 odd years ago, you know, life would be different, but that's the journey, isn't it? So
Yep, it is. It is. And, you know, one thing about cerebral palsy is we use a lot more energy to do basic tasks than everyone else. You know, years ago, I did a little study experiment thing where they hooked up a whole bunch of dials to me and a mask, and they had me walk around, and they figured out that I used three, 3 to 4 times more energy than the average person just when I walk around.
mhm.
And like that's a lot, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot. And that's why, you know, it's difficult to exercise and to be as active as we
Hmm.
would want to be, because it takes so much out of us. And yeah, that's something that I think is important that people know, is just actually how difficult things are. But also, I don't know, that's a struggle that I'm having, is like how to be honest about the struggles without being negative all the time. Um,
Yeah, it's hard. It really is.
but you know, it's a case of just saying, this is how difficult this is, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yep,
So if you can make
exactly.
life a wee bit easier for me, then I would like that. Like, yes,
Yep,
please. Um,
yep. So before we wrap this up, how can people reach out to you?
so I am on Facebook mostly Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram, and it's under my handle Layla B.
Okay,
Don't know if
awesome.
you can pop that somewhere. I
Yep,
also
I'll
have
put it in the show notes.
an ebook on advocacy that I would, if people are interested, I'd be happy to send them. Uh,
Awesome. So, thank you.
no worries, thank you.
And then my slogan is your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
To me specifically, it means I'm still learning what I'm capable of. Every time I achieve something that I didn't think was possible, I have to raise the bar. So if I don't know what I'm capable of, nobody else does. So
Yep.
when I apply that, if I can apply that to my clients, I would say, you don't know what you're capable of either. And the only way to find that out is to do it and find out that way. Is to not
It is.
limit yourself and set, you know, do what you want to do and see how far you get.
Mhm. Yep. Exactly. I love that. And then what's one last message that you would like to leave the audience?
And that's a really good question. I think just in terms of the discussions that we're having, like, if you're not sure about disability, if you're not sure, if you see somebody and you're, you know, go up and start a conversation with them. Maybe don't jump straight into, you know, medical details, but have a conversation with them. At the end of the day, disabled people are normal human, you know, are individual people, and we all kind of have dreams and wants and aspirations, and we have needs and like social needs and things like that. We're not something to be frightened of, or something to embrace, I guess.
Yep. Exactly. That would amazing. Well, Layla, thank you for being on the show. It was really incredible, and I know that we really helped more people understand what it's like, and that is so important.
Great. Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me here, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.